Hello, grade 9s. Today we're going on to circles. Okay, so just remember that you need to know your formulas for these things, which we did in the previous lessons. Okay, so the first question here, it says note use the pi key on your calculator, and I'll show you how to use that. So the first question says calculate the radius of the circle with an area of 62.8 centimeters squared, correct to 2 decimal places. So the formula for an area of a circle is A is equal to pi r squared. And now what we know is we know what the area is. The area is 62,8 equals pi r squared. And that is what they're asking us to calculate the radius. So what we need to do first of all is we need to divide both sides by pi to get the r squared on its own. So we take 62.8 divided by pi. And we're getting this. And they're asking us to round off to 2 decimal places. So I'm just going to say here that 19,99, that's to 2 decimal places, equals r squared. Then I have to take the square root. So we're going to take the square root. The easiest way is to do the square root of the answer. And we get r is equal to 4,47 centimeters. Okay, and it's rounded off to 2 decimal places. And that's what they asked us to find, is it the radius of that circle. Okay, going on to example 2. Okay, if the circumference of a circle is 93 millimeters, calculate the length of the radius correct to 1 decimal place. Okay, so we need to calculate the radius. So what's the formula is for a circumference? We know that circumference is equal to 2 pi r. And you see, this is why it's important to know these formulas, grade 9s. So now we know that the circumference is 93 equals 2 pi r. What I can do now is I can divide both sides by 2 pi to get the r on its own. So 93 divided by 2 pi. And we need to round that off to 1 decimal place. So we get r is equal to 14,8, and our units are millimeters. Okay, as easy as that, guys. Going on to example 3. Okay, so here it's saying determine the perimeter of the closed shape correct to 2 decimal places. So what I want to do here is just highlight what the perimeter would be. Remember, the perimeter is the outside length. So we need to find the length of just that little bit there, then that length, and then that length, and then add them together. Okay, so as you can see what I did here initially, that is the circumference of a semicircle, or the circumference of half a circle. Now, in order to find out the circumference of a circle, we need the radius. And the radius would be part of this. This is actually called a diameter. It's going from one part of the circle to the other side of the circle. And the radius would be halfway in between. Okay, so that would be the radius there. So we don't know what that is yet, so we need to calculate that. Over here, we know what that is. That's 4. That side over there, we don't know, but it's got a little X like that, so that means that this is also 4 centimeters. So we know that length, that length. We just need to calculate that length. Okay, now in order to find this length over here, have a look over here. We've got this triangle over here. And with that triangle, it is a 90-degree triangle, and we know the other 2 sides. So we can use Pythagoras to find out this side here. And that is opposite the 90. So that is your hypotenuse side. So we know that h squared would be equal to the sum of the other 2 sides squared. This one and this one. So we get 4 squared plus 4 squared. So h squared is equal to 16 plus 16. So h squared is equal to 32. I just take the square root of that, and we get that h is equal to the square root of 32. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it as this, guys, and I'll round off the final answer. So we get h is equal to 4 root 2, and the units is centimeters. Now remember what h is. H is this entire length here. That is h, and we work that out to be 4 root 2. But now I'm only interested in finding the radius, okay? Because you remember, circumference is equal to 2 pi r. We need the radius. So if I know that full length, all I need to do is just take that and divide it by 2, and that'll give me r. So we know that r is equal to 4 over root 2 divided by 2. So we get r is equal to 2 root 2, and that is centimeters. Okay, so now I can find the circumference bit. So c is equal to 2 pi, and our radius now is 2 root 2. 2 times pi multiplied by 2 root 2. Okay, and I'm getting that. And I'm just going to round this off again to 2 decimal places. Okay, so we get here 17.77. And this is centimeters. Now, we just have to be careful with this, because what this formula does is it works out the circumference for a full circle, okay? And we don't have a full circle. We've got half of a circle. So I'm going to put that into the final formula, because remember, we need to find the perimeter, that orange length. So we've got here 4 plus 4 plus this little bit over here. Now this is half of a circle, so we're going to take half of our circumference, which is 17,77, and we can just plug that on the calculator. 4 plus a half, 17.77. And again, I'm going to round that off to 2 decimal places, so we get here 16,89 centimeters is the perimeter of that shape. Okay. Then grade 9s, as always, we've got a more complicated shape, and these are the type of ones I would expect in an exam or a cycle test. Okay. It's these compound shapes with a whole bunch of shapes together. So just like from yesterday's lesson, what I want you to do is I want you to break this down. So I'm going to call this one shape 1, shape 2, and shape 3. So shape 1 will be this rectangle. Shape 2 will be this shape over here. Now, as you guys can see, this looks kind of like a circle, but it is a quarter of a circle. All right, then we've got this third shape, which is a triangle. Okay, and we need to work out the area of this shape. So I'm going to work out the individual shapes of 1, 2, 3, add them together. So if I look at shape 1, to work out the area for this, it's length times breadth. So if this is 20, this will also be 20. So I know the breadth, but now do I know what the length is? So if this is 20, this one's also 20. Sorry guys, just want to put it in there. Now what I need to know is I need to know this length over here. Now if this full length from up here to down here is 55, and that length over there is 20, that means that this length would be 55 minus the 20, and we get a length of 35. Because these two lengths added together must give us the full length. So now I know the dimensions for my breadth and my length. I can work out the area of that one. That's not a problem. Then, Because this is a quarter of a circle, I'm going to use the formula for a circle, and we need the radius, and yes, we have it. We've got it as 20 and 20. Okay, so that one is sorted. For this triangle, because this is 30 and it's marked with an X, and that's an X, this will also be 30 millimeters. Okay, and remember for this, the formula is a half base times height, and the height and the base need to be the same length. Need to be perpendicular, sorry. So if this is 35, this is also 35. Okay, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop a perpendicular line from that point to here. Okay, so that can be my base and that can be my height. All right, now if this is 35, this full length, then this will cut this in half, and we just take half of 35 to get this length over here. So this will be 17.5 centimeters. Now, what I can do is I can use Pythag, because I'll redraw it here for you guys. I have this length here, which is 30. I have that this is 19. And then we have this length, which is 17.5. And we want to find out what this H value is. That's H over there. So we can use Pythagoras. Okay, and remember, this is your hypotenuse. It's opposite the 90. So we've got a side. So this is going to be H squared plus 17.5 squared equals the hypotenuse squared. Okay. Now, guys, I'm going to do this in one line, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So we're going to take 30 squared. I need to take that to the other side. So it becomes minus 17.5 squared. Okay. Then we need to take the square root of that answer. So square root of that. And we get a length of this. And we're going to round this off to 3 decimal places. Okay, so this becomes 24 comma 367 millimeters. Okay, guys, so you see how I saved some time there by just doing it on the calculator. So now I know what this value is. It is 24 comma 367 millimeters. Right, so let's work out the area for shape 1, which is our rectangle. So the formula for that is length times breadth. So our length is 35. Multiply that by 20. And we get an area of 700, and it's millimeters squared. Let's work out for shape 2. Okay, so the area for this is going to be pi r squared. But remember, that is the formula for a full circle, and we have got a quarter circle. So all I have to do is multiply this by a quarter to get the quarter area. Okay, so we get 1 over 4 pi, and our r we worked out to be 20 squared. Okay, so 1 over 4 pi 20 squared, and we are going to round that off to 3 decimals. So we get here 314,159. Okay, now to work out for shape 3, which is the triangle. So area for this would be equal to half base times height. Our base is 35. And our height we calculated over here to be 24,367. Round that off to 3 decimals, and we get 426,423 millimeters squared. Sorry, I forgot the units here, millimeters squared. So now I have the area for the individual shapes. I can work out the total area now. And that's just the sum of all of these. So we're going to sum this one, and then the last one is this one here. Okay, so we've got 700 plus 314,159 plus 426,423 equals. And we get a final area of 1,440,582 millimeters squared. And that is the final, or the total area for that shape. Okay guys, so for homework, you can do exercise 15.1, number 4A to F for me, please.